Hey, this is Paul, and today I'm going to show you a cheap and easy dragon fruit potting soil mix. Now, this ratio came from UC, California, from my friend Tim George's dad, Mike George, and their citrus farmers. Now, what they used years ago was 1/3 peat moss, and I use Omri certified peat moss. You can see the difference. Wet is right here on the right, and it's dry here on the left. So it does look different. I like to pre-moisten it before I mix it. Up next, sand, 1/3 sand. And sand is not all sand is alike. I tend to use the ones that say it's safe for potting soil. Like down here, I get this at Home Depot, inside near the concrete, and you can see it does recommend using it for potting soil or garden applications. Now you don't want to breathe it, and you could even wash it further if you wanted to. I don't wash it, it does fine. And the third that they use is humus or humus. It's really hard to find humus, and what that is basically composted green waste that is decomposed for about 6 months to a year and is fine, and it has some good wood chip particles. And this is what is in most potting soil today, and it can cause problems in the long term. So using these 3 ingredients is going to be a great mix. I actually am using this now just to root my dragon fruit cuttings, because it seems like the dragon fruit, they really respond well to wood chips and compost that's green. So this stuff is a good ingredient in the short term, but if you want a long-term solution, instead of using composted green waste, you can substitute that third for some of these other ingredients. Now, before I show you the other ingredients, this is what the final product looks like. It is really nice. It's a good potting soil, good drainage, and you could even use more sand if you wanted to. I mean,
so that's the finished one.
That's what we're calling the UC mix.
And he doesn't put any perlite or anything in that?
Nope, just this. And Tim George has had success using this to root his cuttings, and no problems inside that greenhouse that we visited. Now, what I like to use instead of the compost for a longer term potting solution, because we have gophers and I don't want to have to repot these for at least 5 to 10 years. So I substitute the compost with the following ingredients, and you can use what you want or what you can find or see fit. So this is chunky coconut coir, and it's got to be the chunky. Don't use the fine stuff. That will cause rot because it's too fine. So I like to substitute my compost with that, or inert growing medias like pumice, which is here. I really recommend volcanic pumice. It's a great growing media, provides plenty of oxygen and aeration to the roots. And then if you like perlite, you can use perlite, but not all perlite's the same. I tend to only use the larger stuff. This is number 4. The stuff you find at Home Depot is really, really fine, and it'll just kind of float to the top. So this is not the ideal perlite. Honestly, if I don't use number 4, I would just use only pumice. So I like bigger perlite. That's just what my preference. Now, this is really good stuff. You could use worm castings. Honestly, if you just wanted to do 1/3 peat moss, 1/3 sand, 1/3 worm castings, that would work well. Right now we're using just pure coconut coir and worm castings as an experiment on some of our pots, and that's been really successful as well. So that's another option. Now, a lot of people are using charcoal or biochar nowadays, but what Gary Matsuoka recommends at Laguna Hills Nursery, he says about I think it was 2 to 3%, no more. So using a maximum 5% for biochar, I do like it. It's really pricey, so that's a drawback, but I do have a source that's nearby, so I can access it pretty easily. And so if you use all these ingredients like I do, this is my final mixture. And you can see the differences. So this one would last 3 to 5 years. If you use worm castings a lot and treat it right, it will last longer. And then here's mine, which should last up to 10 years, but you do need to top dress it with nutrients. So watch some of our other videos on how we fertilize our dragon fruit. We're gonna do some more videos this season on that, and this is the media that I prefer. However, after talking to Tim George, I am using more compost to root my dragon fruit, because he feels that having some of this matter like here kind of promotes the hormones in the plant to root faster. Obviously, temperature is the biggest factor for rooting, but this is working well, and I've had success using both of these methods so far. So there's a cheap and easy dragon fruit mix. It just won't last quite as long. And then there's one that has more expensive ingredients, but will last you probably twice as long if you treat it right. So there you go. That's been the journey so far for potting soil for dragon fruit. Give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll keep you tuned for more information in the future on our obsession with the perfect soil.